Hi, I'm going to be talking about some of the bugs I found in Everglades National Park while hiking along some firebreak trails in Long Pine Key. I posted all of my photos to iNaturalist, and I'm going to kind of explain how exploring on iNaturalist works really quickly. I have a filter set, so it's only showing my observations that I posted from August 7th, and you can kind of see one of the trails here going south from Main Park Road. And I also have some observations from the hole in the donut restoration area. And these other ones have the location hidden. The location is obscured, the little dots that you see spread out everywhere, because I found a few rare plants and I didn't want the location to be public. I'm going to type in arthropods here and click on the little drop down that pops up. And I'm going to get more and more specific all the way to species, which is the southern carpenter bee. And you'll see how the observation count goes down as I get more specific, since we're going down the classification from kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, all the way down to the species. So it's pretty cool how iNaturalist works. If you're interested in something in particular, you can type it in any area and see the observations that have been posted there to kind of get an idea of what you might see when you go. So here we are down to species. And again, this is only showing observations that I posted that I had observed on August 7th. Here you can see some of the other trails in the Long Pine Key area, and I didn't explore those areas, so there aren't any observations there. Now I'm clicking the option to show everybody's observations from this date in this area, and now I'm going to make it so it shows any date posted by anybody in this large orange rectangle you'll see right now. So there it is. So you see, obviously the numbers went way up since this is showing observations taken by anyone on any date. We're at almost 150,000 observations, over 6,000 species, and over 7,000 observers, which is pretty cool. So this is a Florida leafwing caterpillar. This was one of my goals, to find one of these. I've been wanting to find one for a while, and it's on its host plant, Pineland croton. It was eating it, as you saw in that video. This one was pretty small. You could see it next to my thumb here. I was taking a picture with my phone through a hand lens, and here you can kind of see the size a little bit better. This is another really cool little thing that I found on Pineland croton. This little tiny spider. It was just tiny. And speaking of tiny and cute, look at this Tillandsia that was also growing on Pineland croton, which is somewhat unusual. You could see it here in this beautiful habitat. And for this next part of the video, I'm going to be talking about pollinators. Hiking along these firebreak trails in the Long Pine Key area, at least during August, you'll see a lot of this plant. It's Liatris spicata, the dense blazing star. It's a little tricky IDing all these different blazing stars, so I got help from Jay Horn, so thanks to him for that. And here's an example of a pollinator you might see, the Euglossa dilemma, known as the dilemma orchid bee. And they're not native to Florida, but they're not known to be invasive, and they're bright metallic green. Here's a butterfly, a Gulf fritillary. This is a very common one in Florida, and the colors really contrast well with the flowers. So again, this is August. This is one of the main plants you'll see attracting pollinators out here. But during springtime, you'll also see a lot of Cirsium originum, which is known as bristle thistle or horrible thistle, and that one attracts a load of pollinators as well. So that's something to look out for in spring. But yeah, I'm going to be showing a few other pollinators visiting this beautiful little flower, and even some predators. This is a yellow banded wasp moth. These are somewhat hard to find, so I was particularly excited to finally see one for the first time. And here's a Gulf fritillary, another one, photobombing. This is a twin spot skipper. It's pretty common out here, and it also really loves that horrible thistle plant I mentioned earlier. Here's a southern carpenter bee. I saw maybe 6 or 7 out there on August 7th, and this looks familiar to me. I think it might be Dianthidium, although I'm not sure. And in the circle is a jagged ambush bug. This is a common buckeye, which is another type of butterfly. I didn't quite get the best picture of it. This is another native bee in the genus Megachile. And here's another ambush bug. You can kind of see a little bit better. It's hiding under a flower, waiting to try to grab a pollinator. And here's another angle of that same bee with its tongue out. It had just nectared on the flower. Here is some type of twig ant. People don't realize that ants are also pollinators. And this is a different type of bee. This is one of the cuckoo leafcutter bees. This is a star-bellied orb weaver, hanging out trying to find something to eat like the ambush bug. And this is an arabesque orb weaver, which is another type of spider hanging out on the buds. I'm not sure what type of bee this is, but it's on butterfly milkweed. It's really nice deep blue. And this is actually a beetle, and it's one of the wood boring beetles. Here are some bees that I don't know to ID. I know they're visiting Blodgett swallowwort, which is a tiny little flower that attracts a lot of cool pollinators. And then there's also this really cool little fruit fly visiting Leavenworth tixie, like the beetle was. And the last two pollinators I have are this little square-headed wasp visiting Semaphore thoroughwort, and this is Eumenes smithii visiting musky mint. I don't think this wasp has a common name. So as I was hiking down the trail, I kind of just looked at my elbow randomly and noticed I had these little red bumps everywhere. And I was thinking that they didn't really look like mosquito bites. And I was wearing a long sleeve shirt, but there might have been these little mites known as chiggers or red mites, or the larval ones are really the ones that get you. But anyway, you can see here that the trail is a little bit wet. It's just even the slightest change in elevation will mean that one area is flooded and another one is dry. And with all of the water of the wet season, you get mosquitoes, right? This one is a black salt marsh mosquito. You can see it was pretty full. This is a handsome little spider. It's a difoliate orb weaver. I've only seen this one a couple times. And this little tortoise beetle had just amazing colors. Not sure what kind of tortoise beetle it is. This might be Cryptocephalus obsoletus. I'm not really sure if that's right or not. And this butterfly is some type of satyr. It could be a halictosatyr or a Georgia satyr. And this is a straight-banded nursery web spider. I think it might have even had a prey, maybe fish. I'm not sure what kind of beetle this was. Unfortunately, I missed the angle showing of the back of it, but it looks like it might be Trichotis apivorus. This next moth was pretty cute. It's pretty small. It's a straight line Argyria moth, and you can see little moths flying around sometimes. This one's a Florida purple wing, which kind of opens its wings a little bit here, so you can see some of the white spots. So this was in one of the hammocks I visited. Next up is this long-headed toothpick grasshopper, and as you can see, they have really good camo. It's hard to spot them unless they move around. And then this wasp, I don't really know what it was, but there was a brown anole, a little tiny one. You can kind of see it in the background here, and the wasp in the foreground, but the anole scared it away. This is maybe a black wing sharpshooter. The colors are also just they contrast in such a crazy way, the light blue and the orange. So that was really nice to see. That was the first time I saw it. This is a different type of square-headed wasp in flight. I'm not sure which one, but this other guy is a Conura species with these really cool alien-like hind legs. And here's a dragonfly nymph. Unfortunately, it was out of the water, and these fire ants were obviously attacking it. I'm pretty sure it was going to succumb to them pretty soon. And then lastly, this metallic pennant, which I thought is one of the coolest dragonflies you can see out here with the colors. So for this last part of the video, I just wanted to kind of give a conclusion on this day hike that I spent out in the Pine Rocklands of Long Pine Key. Again, all of these that you see spread out everywhere were really somewhere in the Long Pine Key area. I just have the location hidden, and you can probably see from the first video that I showed, it didn't include these bats, so I've added these since then, and actually got some recordings of bats on my way home, which was down Chrome Avenue and then Tamiami Trail. But so far, about 148 species, and this number can go up if I get more help from other people identifying what I found. These are the identifiers that have helped me ID what I've posted to iNaturalist. So Jay Horn, he's always IDing all the plants I post, and I think he's the top identifier in Florida now from how many identifications he's added to everybody's plants. So that's really great and really helpful. Since this video was focusing on insects or really arthropods, so that includes spiders and insects, this is my total amount of observations. So 91 observations, 61 species so far. And just to specify a little bit more about how iNaturalist works, so this shows my actual observations, the photos that I took, and if I click grid, I can scroll through them and see them. You could also view them in list mode, which kind of gives a little bit more information. And then if you click on the species tab, it shows you in order from most observed to least observed, but these are default photos. See, these are not the photos that I posted myself. And then again, these are the people who are identifying the insects that I posted. So that's all. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to post a few more videos in the future, and see you next time.